Okay. We're going live on Halftime Chat R&B podcast alongside Total R&B Lorena, and we've got our special guest, singer, songwriter, producer, author. Can't forget that, Mr. Shawn Rivera. How you doing this evening, guys?
It's great to be back, and I'm glad to have Lorena back. She's about to be the most influential publicist in R&B.
Thank
We'll
you.
just talk.
I'm excited to be here. And so congratulations, Shawn, on the album.
Thank you, thank you. As you can see, we're having a party of one here tonight, uh, but it's a wonderful, wonderful chance to share this record with the handful of people who really care. I know how this business is, and people, unless you're going to pump major label money into things, this is going to be the best kept secret for a while. We're going to do earn. When you make timeless music, you don't rush it. But it's taken me 30 years to get this far, so I'm just thankful that you guys are here, and for all of the super fans. Oh, I call them super friends because there are people who've rocked with me through all the side projects, through all of my incarnations and iterations, collaborations, and for them to share unsolicited love for the music, I really truly appreciate it.
Yes.
Real-
Okay.
real-
I mean, I guess we can start with the fact that. So, what is it that you are? I know you've got a new album. When does it go come out? What's those
If you're
dates?
watching this, let's see, if you're watching this in UTC time, it should be out everywhere. Certain platforms take longer, but I know right now we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music and YouTube. And if you want to make a reel with the songs, it's already in your Instagram and your Facebook to make your own reels. And people have been coming up with creative ideas already, had me cracking up. So this is going to be a fun ride. Definitely.
Okay, and we're going to go into each of the songs and the whole project. But I guess I'm just wondering how, as an independent artist, have you found how the release process of an album?
Honestly, I think it is for an artist of my generation, it is mentally taxing to keep up with an algorithm, to constantly post. I don't want to share all my business with the world. I remember growing up, you heard a song, you loved it. You didn't know if they were black, white, straight, gay. You didn't know their politics. You didn't know what they looked like, but you knew you loved you some Tina Marie or whatever it might be. And then when you go to the show, oh, okay. Or, you would physically go out and make your case for the record. This is a new era, obviously, and people want you to like post every 5 minutes, and then you've got ads and like keep up with all the comments. I love interacting with people, but I've got about a 2-hour window of sanity per day. And that's spoons theory, like I have to save my spoons because most of us who love to create put our all into the music and seldom save much else for anything else. And for me at my age, I choose to save my sanity and my strength for my family, my loved ones, and that small circle of folks who don't drain me, who support and sustain each other. So I actually think that it's counterproductive for creatives in this. They want you to manage your own website, and gather data and check the analytics. And I love doing these things every now and then. So we'll see.
Zutos says social media has overexposed the artist. I miss the mystery.
Bravo. Zoo Tours. I see you. So, by the way, I'm not sure if these comments show up after the video is aired because sometimes I'll go back and look, and I wanted to respond to some of the other comments.
Yeah. I know on my channel there is live replay
Okay.
of the videos. So, but anyway, Lorena, what did you do? You want to go through the album?
Well, I want to ask first because you were asking like, how was it putting out an album as an independent artist? I like to get into like the PR point of it, like getting it out to the people. So what are you doing differently this time around since you don't have the big machine behind you?
Gosh,
I'm always interested how independent artists promote.
you know what? I think before I would do a project, and because it was either a collaboration or with someone else, this is the first time that I get to spearhead a movement, quote unquote. And that's already different because, like, obviously, with like the LaFace Records era, that was a whole different thing. And then I was in a rock band and we toured and we did like the live promotion for the record. But unless you were at the shows or you see the videos floating around on YouTube, you wouldn't know about that project. And then most of the work that I had done was either for or with another company. So, first of all, I want to be able to share the process along the way because it seems like people are interested in that stuff. And because this music is based on uh, older works that I have like mini DVs and old hand footage on like BlackBerry phones, you name it. I've been archiving little tidbits to share with people, but I also don't want to be that person that's like, listen to my demo. I just feel like, I do this as a service. Music should be of service to people. It shouldn't. If you have to beg people to listen to it, then hey, I can't help you. But definitely going to spend more time focusing on also sharing the music where it belongs instead of casting a wide net and just saying, hey, I hope you like it. I'm looking at the people who are looking at me, the people who interact with my posts, the people who actually give feedback. And I respond well to constructive criticism. It's too late to remix the album, unless there's a deluxe edition. But what I mean is that on halftime chat, I've been on a few times, and I'll look through the comments maybe a week or two later, and somebody will say, you said that was Layla Hathaway's first single, and it was this other song. And I'm like, thank you. Like, I'm the person who will thank you for pointing out something that I got wrong or that I could do better, because I didn't get this good by not listening to people. And I don't think I'm all that good. I'm learning every day. But I know that this album, if you don't like this record, it's not for you. So we'll see. We'll, we'll see if the population spikes. We say, do, do you or someone you love struggle with fertility? Would you like to spice things up in the bedroom? Do you feel perhaps you might be too old to start another family? Ask your doctor if Shawn Rivera is right for you.
is that the new
Hey,
commercial?
wifey, my baby is on.
Oh,
Hey,
so you
honey.
missed it.
Oh,
Okay.
Yes, yes,
hi.
yes. And she was calling me earlier, and I was like cooking dinner and trying to get stuff ready. So,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Well, welcome, Erica. And Alex, always a pleasure to see you, Alex.
What's good, Alex? I see you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, but just as I mean, as I said, we'll go into it. I guess I think the one thing that I remember pre Napster was um, music had seemed to have a lot of value because it wasn't um, how you actually had to go and buy it. You owned the copy, and you were able to download it, able to own the copy, put it in your car, or put it in your stereo, and it felt like it was part of you, part of that. You read the liner notes and all of that. When it started to be downloaded onto an iPod, then um, we started to get further away from it because it felt like, okay, yes, we can access more music, but we didn't have there was a level of, oh, we can have a lot more as to before when things were filtered. So it's just like TV. There were days when there were just three or four major TV stations, and programs were more appreciated. Then cable came along, and then you had so many channels. It's hard to now. You've got streaming. You've got variety of different streaming services. So much content means that there's so much to distract you, and then it means that if I don't watch this, there's 100 others, or I can watch it later. It is oversaturating. And from a recording artist point of view, is that you may release this today. I think the consumer might think, well, then next week you're going to release this part two and just dump it out as because you can. I mean, what's it for you to be able to be disciplined and even try and make sure that you promote this as best you can?
Well, something turned a corner turned for me mentally. I technically had retired from the industry, and I'd mentioned this before because of how toxic it is, especially for your mental health. And then you get older, and you're like, I know too much to compromise the art. And then it's like, even with performing and bookings, it's nerve wracking, and my mental health was suffering to the point where I just realized, you know what? I don't have anything to prove to nobody. And I started listening to my old stuff. Like, I've got all these old hard drives, and it just felt like an injustice. Like, how could these songs not have been heard? And then I realized, well, yeah, some of these, like, compared to what's out now, the recording levels are really low, or the equipment was substandard, but the idea was great, or the
Mm.
recording itself is almost, but there's always a new excuse. And I think even today, there's always new excuses not to do stuff, to
Mm.
say, well, until I have 10 albums ready to go, let me not put this first one out. Or let me go and get 10 remixes or get some features from this guy or that guy. Or so there's really no good reason for me to put this record out other than the fact that I want people to hear it. And if I have to compromise my autonomy and integrity for it to be heard, I'm not doing it. So what I'm counting on is the music to speak for itself when I'm not around to speak for it. Um, it may take years before people discover songs. The history of music is filled with these kinds of stories where some old song was discovered by some filmmaker and decided to put it in a movie or use it in a commercial. And next thing you know, there's a whole rebirth or resurgence. So each song to me could be like a potential lottery ticket. But if no one hears anything, the best thing about today's music market, say what you want about streaming, it doesn't pay anything. I lost money already and they won. However, now at least whenever I go to somebody's house, I don't have to like, I can pull up my songs in the car or pull it up on the street, or send it to their phone. Because before you had to put everything in a folder or mail it to somebody. So the
Mhm.
non-physical versions do carry a lot of mobility, and we'll see where things go. Like, I'm really realistic. If I wasn't me and I was watching what I was doing, I'd say, "Oh, poor guy. Maybe a few thousand people might hear it in the first year, but whatever I can do to help out play it." I would actually want to play it myself. Like, I listen to artists who aren't necessarily so popular because I love the sound of the music, and maybe that's my tribe. You know?
Lorena, you are more versed to speaking with new artists who um, are somewhat more independent, like most artists now, but they're still trying to find an audience. What do you see as some of the things they've done right, and one of the things that they probably can improve on when you are self funding and releasing a new product?
I think it's like a mixture of things, even some of the things that Sean said, like when it comes to social media, a lot of people are struggling to find that balance or that boundary of what to post. So that's something that a lot of independent artists do struggle with because they don't have a lot of the people that I speak to, anyways, they don't have like a social media manager or a strategist on their team helping them come up with a way to present themselves online. So I think that takes a large chunk of time, especially as someone who worked in social media before as a manager. Like it takes a lot of time, and as an artist, you kind of just want to focus on the art. You don't really want to be a content creator. So that's something, but it does really help when you are visible online. It's just finding something that works for you is the toughest part. But then a lot of them uh, are also starting to put more time into like live performances.
Mhm.
So that's something that they're really into. Some of them have been able to grow that way by doing live performances and getting people, to jump on like their bandwagon, their community, and stuff like that, and grow with people along that way. So I find a lot of artists are really excited about the live portion part, and also kind of like showing people that they can perform and not just having them perform the track the way that we hear it on the album. So a lot of them are
Absolutely.
excited about that, which is I think is really good.
Now, you brought up a really good point. Finding a proper mix. I have some advantages that the newer artists don't have, meaning that you kind of build a network of people from those days. This, which is the reason why I'm sitting here talking with you guys. Me and Namdi going back to the radio. I mean, the label days. We know a lot of people from terrestrial radio, which still exists, believe it or not. College radio, you name it. Also, there are people who've reached out to me who said, "Well, look, my son or my cousin or my nephew has a station or a show or a podcast." And again, as long as you don't get into it thinking that it's 1989 or 1994, where you just break in on one big station and then everything blows up for you, you know, I definitely want to make use of as many connections in a way that can bring value. And I actually get excited about some of the smaller shows, like newer shows, because that fresh enthusiasm and that excitement, I want to help elevate people. Like, like I don't want to just, I'm not thirsty, like looking for somebody to bring me up. I want a rising tide to lift all boats. And like, it's weird to go from having mentors to being a mentor and still having mentors and still learning. Like, I feel like a big kid every day. I'll be looking, for instance, people talk about direct marketing. Me and Namdi were talking about the whole thing with the vinyls. And I really feel like that this album has like an old school feel, even though there's some technological advances that it took to make it happen. Um, at some point we are going to do a pressing, but that's the sort of thing that you take with you when you perform, with your merch and your t-shirts and all that sort of stuff. But again, if I waited until all of my ducks were in a row, it
Mm.
would be another 30 years because there's always one more thing to do. So I'm open to suggestions, and I know that people's time costs money, and I'm on a very thin thread at this moment. So I don't, I, I have too much respect for what you do as a publicist, or what Namdi does, or what anyone who's a professional in this game this day does, to waste their time or to expect a freebie. But it's the same thing when people come to me. They want me to make them a track, and they're like, "Well, I know you're friends of my friends, so you should want to do this. You get to split the publishing." I'm like, "Yeah, but there's like operating costs and a production fee and all those things. I don't really like making music for money." I know that sounds weird. I never said I didn't like money, but once you are an employee and not a colleague, it sucks the joy out of it, because people that you respect, you want to work with them, not for them, and vice versa. So I say all that, circling back around to the promotional thing. This is where you, the viewers, come in handy. Just play it for a friend. It costs nothing to click like, even if you haven't heard it yet, right? This is the weirdest thing. People will follow you on social media, and it's usually the people closest to you. I mean, this is a general statement, not directed toward anyone at all. But there'll be people you see every day in your real life, or you'll see that they looked at your story and didn't like it, or they're following you and didn't click on it. And I'm like, what is this costing you? Are you afraid that I'm going to flood your feed, or it's going to make you look uncool? But I realize that society in general, the average person is a follower. They're looking to be told what's popular, and then they jump on the bandwagon. So that doesn't apply in my situation. I'm really happy. Like my sister's sharing my stuff, my strangers have been sharing my stuff, friends sometimes. Well, by the way, shout out to Viva Mas. I had a private unofficial release party with Viva Mas, who's another group that I'm working with right now. They're from Philadelphia. Five, well, me plus them makes five Puerto Ricans from Philadelphia making R&B bilingual music. That's a conversation for another time. But I did not know. Like, we're just getting together because we hadn't been together in a while. And as soon as I come in, they're like playing my record, because like I'd sent them the songs that just to listen to, and I'm like, wait, like we're at a party and I'm hearing my stuff for the first time, like in its you know, it just made me. It was so touching that they did that.
Yeah, I think one of the things you brought up is about people who follow or close by and how they engage with your content. It reminded me. So, for those who don't know, I'll keep saying that I went to college in the U.S. and in my sophomore year, I went to an HBCU, a historic black college in Selma, Alabama, and I ran for I didn't run for. It wasn't student. It was the president of this of the sophomore year or something like that.
Okay.
And I was up against the guy who was quite popular, but everyone. But I really reached out to a lot of people. So he actually had almost resigned to losing. And on the day of the results, I remember going into the dining hall, and that's where they're going to post the results. And I was walking in really proudly, like, "Yep, I've won this." And I looked up, and I lost by 1 vote.
Oh,
Oh,
And I remember going, and I remember coming out just devastated. I'd never been so shocked in my life. And I saw 3 of my friends, and I saw them, and they said, "Oh man, I'm sure you won." I said, "Did you guys vote?" They says, "No, no, no. We knew you've already got it. We didn't even bother voting because we knew you
right.
had it."
oh
And
my
I,
gosh.
and so
Did you vote for yourself?
I did, but those 3 guys
That was
didn't.
the one vote
So
you
if they
needed.
had voted, but I think the learning lesson for me was that when I moved to a bigger college in Milwaukee, and I ran for student body president, I think the experience in a smaller college and missing out, I didn't stop campaigning until it was officially closed, and I slayed the results, and I won twice in 2 years in a row, being student body president of the university. But it's because of that learning experience. It's because I learned never to take people for granted, and I learned never to just rest on my laurels and say, "Yeah, I'm sure they've done it." And
Mhm.
so it is a case where when you are putting stuff out there, there is that sense where, okay, people know my name. I just post it on my page, and people who follow are gonna like it. And realizing actually, um, maybe there's more work to be done, because if it's important to you, people will eventually see it and know and understand the more you really share it and talk about it. Um, and you notice somebody like 50 Cent, who, whether he's trolling somebody or whatever he does, he always includes his one of his brands in his stuff,
Yeah.
and he'll always try and tie it back to something else he's doing. But
Yes.
even in the midst of whatever he's posting, he always tries to promote the bigger picture. And I
Mhm.
think that's a lesson to be learned, that you just don't assume that people can click and like, but very few would go there at a distance. But the more you do it, the more they're like, "Let me see what he's even saying." I mean, Lorena, what are your thoughts? I mean, as I said, you
Bars, man. Thanks for the jewels, man. I love it. I love it.
No, I completely agree. I've seen that by doing the different things that I do. It's always the people that I do not know or that I've met through social media that I see as supporters. It's the people that I'm closest to where I have to be like, could you like this? Can you share this? Can you do this? Like to be on them to do that. So at first it did used to bother me, but then now I just know that like this is just how it is. It's something unfortunately that's very common. But yeah, I try not to focus it. I just stay, stuck on my goals and then if I do need to be on somebody to be like, "Oh, can you just share this?" They don't have a problem doing it, but I just feel like I have to go out and say it and make the ask.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? I love that story because but I had made a joke saying, "Hey, did you vote for yourself?" Because there are times when I put out a single 2 years ago, right? And after the initial thing came and went, right? Um, I noticed that the most spins came from me, right? So then at this time around, I said, you know what? If I do an advanced pre listen where you can listen to a couple of tracks for like, a few weeks ahead of time, it does build momentum and you can kind of see who's already checking for you and look at the statistics and say, okay, well, there's some people in Raleigh, North Carolina, there's some people in LA, there's some people in Malaysia who genuinely showed interest, right? And like Nandi was saying, if you think you've already got it in the bag, I literally don't walk around with this thought in my head that I'm some famous person, but I definitely know that there are a handful of people who seem to care, and I've curated the people that the small following that I do have are like a chosen family. So
Mhm.
it's like a nucleus that radiates outward. And I set aside a certain amount of time each day to focus it's like building a business from the ground up. Like I really feel like we're just getting started. Like there's nothing tried and true anymore. But there are things that work seem to be working, and
Mm.
then the algorithm shifts, or a new feature will
Yeah.
come out, or a new thing. But yeah, I'm definitely, this is a lifelong promotional thing. We have a saying in the mixing world. They say a mix is never finished; it's only abandoned, meaning that you can always adjust something later. And I think it's the same thing. I'm not promoting Shawn Rivera being the coolest guy in the world. I'm using my music as a way of expressing, touching people, reaching people. It's fulfilling to me when people resonate with it. And
Mm.
I love interacting and engaging with thoughtful people, uh, different types of people, the black sheeps of the family, the neurodivergent, whatever it may be. Like,
Mm.
um, I love to collaborate in this thing called life, and the sound of the music is part of that. It's not necessarily about making the coolest but making the numbers. If we get Grammys and all these kind of nominations, that's a whole other process, as you all know. uh,
Mm.
and those things are great, the accolades are great, but really I just want to be able to be there for the people that are there for me, and get as many people to hear this music as possible.
Yeah, if I think back to in May, it would be 6 years that I started. So I started May of 2020. I think May 25th or so of 2020. And back when I started, if 10 people watched an interview, I was over the moon. 20 people, it was like ecstatic. Because I just there was the fact that somebody else is interested in what I've done.
Hmm.
I've not changed how I interview, or not. I've made some modifications, but the same passion hasn't changed from day one. And it's been consistent. So, but the other thing that happens is that I don't tend to push more than one guest at a time. So if it's recent now, I'm pushing Howard Hughes interview, and I take my time when it comes to promoting on either YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. It takes a lot of energy to because I want to get the best for the guest who comes in. I don't have, I'm not backed um, by Sirius or iHeart Media or any of these massive conglomerates. So, and it's not the case where I can do the interview and sit back, and then a whole content and editing team does all the stuff and pushes it out, and I don't
Yeah.
have to worry about how many people are watching. So it's very much part of my job. But I take the time, and I don't rush. And I think there's something about, you've got this album, you've got your songs, and it's quite easy to think, oh, it's not really moving as quickly and stuff, and just say, well, on to the next. I'm being very deliberate with, okay, here's that first single. I've done a video and we're going to ask about it. I went to Nepal. Okay, I've done that.
Mhm.
Do I then start to remix the video with other things? Do I do other things like that? Do I put in little clips, and really being intentional just to let that fester, and so people can just say, oh, okay, and not just relying on Instagram, but maybe actually YouTube, and
Yes.
and then just let it take its time and not rushing it, because
Yes.
most people are used to things that, like, after a while they've listened and actually this isn't too bad and I like what's going on. But I think there's a sense of, okay, it's moved on, let's move to the next.
You know
And
what?
but
You thank you for that, because we've been talking about these sorts of things back and forth on and off camera. When it comes to YouTube right now, I'm 147 subscribers short of being able to monetize the channel. So hopefully, so hopefully people will like the thing, and I'm still working on content for the channel. I have a series of our interviews as well as other interviews that I'm chopping into pieces to share nuggets thereof. The making of the video that we will get into, the Nepal video, that was a whole 2-week journey worth of content to share in and of itself. And just like you were saying about how, not being backed by the majors, I had to do my own editing, mixing and mastering. For the video, I was my own camera person on the side of a mountain in sub-zero temperature, lip singing to a song without the music playing, and then trying to sync up the lips from the song to the track that I made, when I got back 2 weeks later, and then 8 years later, remixing the remix to fit the new version. It's a lot of work. It is exhausting. And this is what taking our time looks like. This is that one step at a time.
Yeah, but I think so. What was the deal? Did you go to Nepal, and I guess that's one of the things we wanted to hear about.
Oh man. Okay, so there's the song that's out right now as the lead video single is called Keep On. It's a song that I originally wrote on a mountainside in Nepal. If for those who've been following me for years, there's another version of this video because I was shout out to, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, Unku Shakira. Her and her son were friends of my ex-wife, and they had suggested that we take this trip, and we didn't take the trip together. I wound up going for my 44th birthday, and I wasn't warned that this was not like a casual hike. Although when I looked it up, other people who do hiking say, oh, as long as you've got like a decent standard of health, you should go, right? Now, I'd ran 10K races, from high school on down. But when I got out there, you suddenly realize people die out here. They die every year. You're walking for 2 weeks straight on uneven. It's not what you think. There's no electricity. There's no street lights. There's no Wi-Fi. It is rough. You're pooping in holes on the ground, squatting. The water will freeze in your bottle. Like you have to sleep with the water up against your chest in a hut, huddled up. I mean, it's rough. It is rough. Now, music was coming to me because I was having like a terminal clarity moments, and I was considering all the stuff that was going on in my relationship, but also just I had this walking rhythm going on in my head, and it was just kind of like I'll kind of stem and get into a mantra or whatever, and just keep walking. And I had this sort of like staying alive kind of melody going on in my head, and I didn't have a track to it, didn't have anything, but I said, you know what, I'll never get a chance to shoot a music video in Nepal at the Everest base camp. 13 of us left, only 5 of us came back, and 2 were the tour guides. It is not for the faint of heart. And just for me to be able to do the lip singing with the freezing cold, like I couldn't even get the words out. And then holding your cell phone with no gloves on so that you can press the button. You can only shoot for like 10 minutes, and then you put your hand. It was insane, and you're walking super slow,
Wow.
can't breathe, and like meanwhile the locals they're adapted to the climate and they're carrying stuff on their back. So yes, I did not use any special technology to shoot the video other than patience and perseverance and finding areas that were safe enough not to pay attention, because you will fall off the ledge if you're shooting like, hey, and then whoa, and literally there were a few times when I was either rescued, saved, and some people were helicoptered off the mountain. I mean, it was literally a once in a lifetime thing that I wouldn't do it again if I knew what I was getting into, but I'm so glad it happened. So that song is a testament to perseverance, to keep on moving on.
And Lorena, do you want to talk about the album and the uniqueness of it and stuff?
Yeah, well, first hearing the album, like you were saying, like if this album isn't for you, then kind of move on. But I feel like because this album has so many different like genres in it, I feel like there is songs, like more than one song for everybody. Like there's so much that's in here. So right off the bat, listening to it, I loved it. I feel like it's music that we're missing. Um, I think I was talking about this to somebody else that I was interviewing. Like we miss music that makes us feel something. And I feel like with this album, we get that. So for you, like, how was the process of putting, because you've been making songs and you've had so many, different songs all over. So how did you choose like what to put on this album?
First of all, thank you for those words of encouragement because the intent was felt. The This record is special to me because in those years that I had been working with all these other artists and different music directors, guitar players, producers, musicians, there's a handful of people who we just got together over the years because we wanted to make music. It was not for a label. It wasn't like a think tank of people trying to figure out how to game the system or win over people. So, for instance, all of the songs that I collaborated with people on over the years, there's lots of them. But these particular nine to me fit together because of the range that they followed. There's some people that I'm sure Namdi would know of who've participated on this record. There's a lot of artists who I was influenced by coming up, who some of their session players or music directors became friends of mine. And so what would happen is we used to get together. This is back in say 2004, from 2002 to 2007. I was working with Alex Alessandroni, who was he's been a music director for everybody from Babyface to he played on the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack the for Shaka Khan's My Funny Valentine. But he's got a who's who of hundreds and hundreds of these legendary names that he's worked with. And for whatever reason, when he first spotted me, we were backstage at Babyface's concert when it was Babyface and Boyz II Men. You know, I had just gotten signed, but still hadn't come out yet. And I'm looking at all this food at the craft services. I was hungry, like I always am. He sees me, he's like, "Don't be shy," and he just grabs the food and starts. And I was like, he just made me feel right at ease, right? Fast forward, he never heard me, like, never heard me sing or stand in front of him or nothing. He says, "You're the guy. I want you to write this for this person and do that." And I'm like, how does he know that I even want to do this stuff? Like, he saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. And shout out to Alex Alessandroni, the Maestro Jr. So he was working with a lot of other musicians, and a lot of the people that are playing on this record were assembled by him over the years. So we've got Simone Cello. We did a tour together with Howard Hewitt, who you mentioned earlier, Howard Hewitt, Jeffrey Osborne, the Temptations, the Stylistics. I was the vocal coordinator to hire the background singers for the artists and arrange, and then they would play every night and stadium shows, and we became like really fast friends. Petey Pete, the drummer, En Vogue's drummer. He played with like the Bernie Mac band. He played with the what do you call that? The Pimp Daddies, you name it, like Aaron Carter. Like it's some people who you would think of as R&B soulful players also are playing on Disney stuff in LA, which, you know, and rock stuff. And this is why the record has such a wide range of styles, is because we never got to be our whole selves. The session players who were music directors were always working for someone else and never got to be their own artist. And then me being an artist who was always an artist for someone else, never got to shine as a writer and a producer. So it was the perfect fit. And you know, shout out to the whole team. I tagged folks, and I'm going to be posting links to all of their websites because it's a team of 7 on this record. And each song has its own story of how it came to be, but literally either music was brought in and I wrote over it, and then we went back and forth, or we all got in a room together as a band like they used to back in the day. And a lot of those recordings would have died if it wasn't for the elephant in the room, the clickbait title, AI. Because AI allowed me to retrieve vocals from old masters that were recorded on discontinued equipment, some things that may have been distorted or lost and only had copies of copies. We couldn't recreate the entire lightning in a bottle all over again from 20 years ago. Like, you know, that's why they hadn't come out in the first place. But in the meantime, we're definitely there are enough songs stockpiled for several more records, but this is the one that I think, even though many people may say, "Oh, that doesn't sound like you," this is the one that's the most like me. which is why I put my name on the front of it, even with all the different contributors and the different styles of voices and everything. This is like how Quincy used to do those records, like back on the block, or the dude, where he put his name on the line, and you knew you were going to get something beautiful because he knew how to put a team together and make the songs the star of the show. I can keep going, but
If we look at the album Hard Working Lady, so explain what this is, like who's singing, who wrote
okay,
the song, and who produced the song.
all right. Hardworking Lady. It's the first song on the record for a reason. Number one is that I wanted to dedicate this album to my mother, who was a hardworking lady who kept us going. But when you listen to the song, it's a story. I was in Philadelphia. I'm from Philadelphia, and I traveled back and forth. And this was back in 2002, 2003. Will Brock, if you're watching, he would know because he has the original track. So Will Brock was a friend of mine from University of the Arts. He brought he was working with this 1050 East production company. He's worked with Jill Scott. He's worked with everybody, Gerald Veasley, Alexander O'Neill, Mesa, like all of these. What's his name? Glenn Lewis, like neo soul artists who we were all inspired by, and the neo soul thing was really coming up. So he gives me a bunch of tracks on an old CD, and I wrote this song about this girl that I had a crush on, who was she was a nurse, and I was like, she's working really hard, and I, just like one of those kind of like how Music Soul Child had the I Just Want to Sing. So as far as the voice, what I did for this particular song was I put my demo, which was from an old CD, and bounced it onto an MP3. Did a stem separation. So it's a fusion of my voice and a voice that was styled with the responses from the ad libs that I put in, and I made several takes into its own persona voice. Now, it's in my key. I can sing it all the way over again and try to sound like I did 20 years ago and get a sound treated room and try to put the band back together. But the results that I got were so good. I said, you know what? I love the way the song sounds because it captured the intent of the song emotionally and sonically. So you can hear my harmony overlaid with the harmony. My ad libs are almost identical in the demo. And that's the other thing. Should these records become extremely popular, by all means, you're going to be shocked when I show up and actually blow these things out of the water. But also, those original masters, those are the ones that we do direct to consumer only, because it would warrant that. Just same way that if somebody wanted to hear the old As Yet demos, or the old Babyface demos, you know what I'm saying? That would be like a fan for fans only, because they're demos. They're not going to be like on the radio tomorrow. So the only reason why I didn't put that song out in its original form was because the recording itself was compromised, not because the songwriting was, or because I couldn't sing it anymore. It's just when I started experimenting with it, I loved the way it sounded so much that I took myself out of the equation and said, this is what I would like to hear coming back to my ear, and the song fit the character. So I treated it like putting on a super suit. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people who do fight choreography, and some of them do their own stunts, and some of them have wire work. Some of them put a mask on. It's still my story that I wrote with my actual runs and notes and arrangement, but with the suit of a voice of. And no, I did not use ChatGPT to write the lyrics. No, I didn't say, can you give me a voice like so-and-so's? This is the result of the genres that the AI calculated based on what I limited the scope of what it had to choose from. It's an instrument that you can use. Now, everybody's not on board with AI for great reasons, but I don't really see, in my particular case, I can only speak for myself, that when I approached it, it was after a fully written song was done and taken as far as it could go, to elevate it to a technical standard while preserving the emotional integrity in a way that is pleasing to the ear. And that was what it did for me. Like it makes me want to bop to it, and I love this. You know what I'm saying?
What did you make, Lorena? What did you make of Hardworking Lady, and what did it remind you of? Did you get that sense of you're my lady in a way?
Yeah, I know. I definitely did. I love that it's the opening song on the album. I think it's like a great way to open the album. I love this song. It's one of my favorites on the album. So listening to the songs, like I would go this is one of the songs I would go back to and play um more often. But yeah, it did remind me of that, and I just loved how it was like, dedicated like to your mom, or because there's so many of us ladies that are out here hardworking, and so just to have that song, I think is great. I loved it.
Thank you, thank you. And if you are hearing some influence of the neo soul, like I mentioned before, the original arrangement musically was done by a collaborator who's well known here in Philly for his contributions to neo soul. So I didn't type in "give me a neo soul track" and just write over it. Like this was literally written before AI, before social media, and it just so happens to feel timely now, especially with the untimely passing, of D'Angelo and Angie Stone and all those things. So I mean, it's a great way to pay homage to the city as well, being Philly native. And shout out to all the hardworking ladies out there. Yes, shout out to all the hardworking ladies.
But I wanted to know too, because like, how did you know like to use AI for this, for like your songs? Like,
I didn't. Honestly, this is a crazy story. I'll keep it short. Um, when I decided to retire, I still had a few loose ends left. And one of those loose ends is a project that I'm working on for a children's album. Well, it's a animated children's musical in the spirit of kind of like I don't want to give too much away, but it's not my movie. Make a long story short, the director, um, uh, he reached out to me and he says, I need you to do me a favor. Like I've done like 9 songs with him, and he says, I want you to consider it. I want you to use AI to make a voice for me, because he had written a song for a character that's supposed to be played by Damian Marley,
mm,
right?
mhm.
And I don't want to imitate a patois accent and be like Snow Informer, so listen. I'm not trying to do all that, right? So at
Not
first I was like,
no.
I heard the words AI and cringed, like, and then now, this man is older than me. He's a genius. He's a brilliant writer. We'd already been working together. He pays on time. So he says, look, don't worry about it. Just try it. He says, it's a tool. Don't, he said, forget about what you hear on the news. What I need is this particular song done in the style of. So what I did was I went to my computer and my keyboard and I took some drum sounds and made like a little rubber dove kind of bounce groove that felt enough like it to get the vibe across. And then I had some lyrics that he had sent me that were based on the script. He put his script into Chat GPT and said, can you give me a song in the Marley style? Give me a lyrical breakdown. Now, when he sent it to me, I called him back and I said, this is like reading the back of the recipe box on some pasta. Like you're not going to get something authentic if you do it like this. But but let me look at what they did and then let me write something based on that. Since they distilled it one layer, I'm going to go through the recipe and augment the recipe. Then I went into Suno. Now I don't work for them, they're not sponsoring. I went into Suno with the lyrics and my original music and told it to give me a male voice, Jamaican style, rubber dub, it's dance hall, blah 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 blah. And the results blew me away. I said, whoa, like, woo. Now, after that, I still wanted to change a few things about the music. So, like, you can export what they give you and then adjust it from there, add harmony, change the melody, do other things outside of AI. But it's got my mind thinking, wait a minute, this is not what people are. The bad actors are getting all the attention. The people who are going in cheating on their tests with Chat GPT, or the people who are just making slop, who just, trying to copy everybody else's 4-chord songs. And the I started doing a deep dive into the ethical concerns, which, of course, there are environmental concerns, a lot of which are minuscule in comparison to the scale of which we are damaging the planet just by being on YouTube. But that's a whole nother story. And again, one can choose to have selective outrage about lots of things. And that's a conversation for another time that I'm always willing to have. But where I'm coming from is that once I saw that for someone, and not just for me, but for other artists who are primarily singer-songwriters who maybe they play an instrument, but not like concert level, or maybe they can't afford to have a drum room treated and rent a studio out to put the whole band back together. Or maybe there's a guy who's a lyricist who never got to meet his Elton John. There's a Bernie Taupin somewhere with all these lyrics, right? I'm meeting all these other artists. The people who have the most fun with the AI are the old heads like me. They're the ones telling me, yo, like when you've got musicians that have toured and played with living legends telling me that they love what I did with their playing, and the only people that have a problem are the ones who've never done music at all, and they're afraid that, or they're in like this level of derivative. Like, it exposes how average music is. If the average music can be made by AI, if you can be replaced by a computer, you probably should be. And I'm saying that as somebody who replaced some of my own vocals with AI, but it's a tool that helped me to elevate the music to a point where it makes me feel something, and I hope that those feelings are conveyed. It's just like having a translator translate a language to another language. It's how you use it responsibly. Hopefully, we may not get another record like Shawn Rivera, because the law may change and they say, oh no, because you used it in any capacity, now you've got to go pay Music Soul Child. Listen, whoever wins in court doesn't necessarily, they can have the 0.3 cents. They can have it. If any artist feels like I stole something from them specifically, or that I'm imitating a specific person, please let me know. Please tag me in the comments.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. Say It Ain't So. Loretta,
Yes.
what did you make of it?
I feel like I could hear this on the radio.
Ooh.
I could definitely hear this on the radio, especially here, like in Montreal, because we have like a lot of like pop stations and rock and different things like that. It's like definitely I could hear it in the car on the radio. So I thought it was a good song. I loved your voice on this song too.
Dang.
It's very different, of course, from Hardworking Lady, but it's still like a really good song.
Thank you. Now, this song was actually the first song I did with the band, the rock band. If for all of the people who haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you go on the channel. If you scroll down, you will see me singing that song with a rock band with a fro this big, talking about I can't control it, right? And that song was our calling card, but it was a rock song. Now, shout out to Simone Cello. Like, this is a bad cat, this guitarist. He's a rock guitarist, a composer. He was brought to me by Alex. He's done stuff for movies, that a bunch of different soulful people. And he had that riff, that doom, 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 doom. He also is an incredible engineer, mixer. Like we would get together, and if Alex brought an idea, we built around that. And Simone would bring ideas, and we built it around his riffs for that song. So it originally started out as a rock song, but we were aiming for something in the realm of like Gnarls Barkley. You remember?
That's right, yes.
And
it's crazy, yeah.
I couldn't not put it on the record because it's a really catchy melody, and the lyrics, and like there's a line in the song when it says, "You've got me crossing the line. I don't know what's wrong or right, but I'm guilty as sin." Everyone's been in a situation like that where it's like your boundaries are being pushed beyond what you thought it would be. Is this a dream? Say it ain't so. Like it is what it is. But that song took us to Italy, and we'd perform it live at the Torre Alfina Blues Festival. And this particular version has a totally different feel. The original masters of this one are not destroyed, but there's a rock record that's coming. So you'll get to hear that version on a future record, because some of these other songs will fit better with it. But I just love that one. I did use AI to make a fusion between the rock and the neo soul to get that sound. So I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, so yeah, it did. I did have vibes of Gnarls Barkley with it. Um, was it a conscious effort just to have variety, or did you not want to? I mean, and also, did you ever think about just staying with the one recognizable vocals throughout the album, or move
Well,
around?
you know what? The funny thing is, to me, number one was that This is as close to any 9 songs of mine sounding alike, because that was the hardest part about being me, is that when I was on LaFace, we had people that they're focusing on one album, one lead singer, and a couple of accent flavors every now and then. But my mind is not built like it's not set up like that. I see an interconnectedness between everything, everywhere, at all times. I love all different kinds of music. I grew up in the hood, but I love hip hop, but I also love R&B, and I love rock. I love Latin music. I love jazz. I studied these art forms and they touch me, and I've been employed and or engaged in all of it, from spoken word to avant-garde, you name it. So I can't say I have 9 songs that sound exactly like. I'm not set up like that mentally. It's just me. It's like, I don't know if you know what you want to call that, scatterbrain, schizophrenic, or just whatever it may be. This is as consistent as it's going to get. Where do you hear the next record? I got kids songs, I got rock songs, I've got duets. Like, I would write song. I'm so used to working with lots of different people. Even with As Yet, when I was around Roxy, I'm sorry, I put myself in the mind of Kenny Terry singing down here, and Mike Nelson singing up there. Like, I'm all over the place. So I figured I gave up trying to fit into a lane, and figured, let me give a complete experience in those 9 songs, like a journey. And even if that journey has different chapters, that some may be colorful and some might be sad and some might be happy, um, the one common thread uh, is the intent to share the love of the music. And the style of the writing um, evolved for me as I've grown, and I can only go back so far in time. So that being said, one voice could not deliver to me unless I was trying to satisfy my ego. I didn't think one voice was fair to the different styles of songs. And because I've been a voiceover artist and would change my voice into the styles of all these other songs, I felt like I got to be a casting director on my own album. Like, when you listen to those old, like Back on the Block, he had, you know, things from groups and from instrumentalists, or from solo artists, male and female, and yes, they were all in a specific vein. If I put all of my ballads together, you would get pop ballads, rock ballads, hip hop ballads. Like, it would be the same thing no matter how hard I tried. I'm sorry, this is the best I can do.
Yeah. Okay. Um, favorite lips, Lorraine. What did you make of that?
This is where we get to the more sensual, intimate part of the album. Again, a good song. I like every song on this album, so you're not gonna get like a bad
Okay, tell me how
review.
you really feel.
So there's not gonna be so much like, oh, I didn't like this one. I like the whole album. So yes, this is where we get to the more, intimate side of it. But yeah, it's a good song. I like it.
So, I
So
mean, how do you program? I mean, the original demo or song, does it sound like what it Sunup came out with?
I'll give you an example, right? Now, with Favorite Lips, it was a live band. It's this one, Favorite Lips is probably the closest musically to the recording we have, which is unmastered, soon to be mastered, because it's one of the ones that survived. But the vocals I'd have to recut, because the I only have a stereo, and to fit the new music, I like to sing to the music that's going to be on it. Like, you know how some people will remix a record and they'll take the vocals from one thing and mash it up to something else.
Yep.
I feel like if you change the music, you change the emotion. So this one actually sounds a lot like it. When I say a lot like it, it's the same exact melody, the same arrangement, the same lyrics, the same key. There's just different things happening sonically, and it's a younger sounding voice than the one that I used. I will say that it's a younger sounding voice, but I wasn't aiming for a specific singer. It was like I wanted to be able to bring that old school sound to a younger set of ears. Very similar to how when I did the Maya Angelou project, people weren't looking at me thinking, oh, this guy's the guy to do a hip hop record with Maya Angelou. But again, the music chose me. I can't help it. I just go where it takes me. And that's what came out. But if you ever want an example of what Suno can do and what it did for this record, on my YouTube channel, you'll see the original. I'm sorry, that's a whole nother one. On Keep On,
Mhm.
there is the original version from 2018. You can compare them yourself.
Mhm.
They might be night and day, but you can definitely tell it's the same
Yeah.
song and the same singer, the same is in there. It is what it is.
Okay. I mean, if the how long does it take to? I mean, if you already have the the
Like the source material.
yeah, so if you already have the source material, how long does it take to
All right.
do now a
I can
song?
only speak for myself
Yeah.
because some people are happy with whatever they get. What I did, I took more than one mix because a lot of these songs had more than one version, like, just piano and vocal or just the whatever stereo MP3. You input it into the system. There are sections that you can decide how much of the original audio influence you want to use. You can decide what genres. You can go in and shift lyrics. You can give descriptions for where you want instruments to change, drop out, break, and all these different things. Like the better
Mhm.
you are at arranging music, the more fun you're going to have on the app. But
Mhm.
then when you render these different versions, right? You might like the way that starts, but not the rest of it. Or you might like the
Mhm.
drums from one and the bass line from the other. So then you have to dump out all the individual, which could be, 12 or 16 tracks, depending on how many you actually want to use. So for me, the quickest one took 3 days. And when I say 3 days, I mean three full sessions. One
Okay.
to generate the bulk of the ideas and organize them into folders. Then the second day for just arrangement's sake, and then a third day to mix, and then a fourth. I never mastered mix on the same day. So
Mhm.
nothing that came off of Suno was as is, and what you heard, none of it, because not because I have anything to prove, but because I wasn't satisfied. Like I was like, okay, is this cool? Like I love where it's going, but this part might be too busy, or that part has a glitch in it. And the other times I'm like, no, I like the glitch because it sounds intentional and I'll keep the glitch. Or then it's like, but the mix ain't right. And then I was combining some of the original vocals and duck them underneath because they couldn't stand by themselves. Like you can
Mhm.
extract stems from vocals from old
Mhm.
records, but they don't sound as crispy as they did when they were recorded. They sound like they're underwater like this. But when you mix some of the underwater vocals with the clean vocal and it fills it in, it's really nice.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
but maximum, I spent 1 month on one song that's not even out yet. For Viva Mas, I was chipping away at one of their songs because it was combining an acapella from four different mixes and whatnot. And every day, I'll say every day for a month, like 5 days, I would just an hour here, an hour there when it got overwhelming, trying to balance five voices out with all the instruments. But for
Mhm.
the average person, they'll go in and make a song in 10 minutes because they're basing their music if if every song has a sample at the beginning,
Mhm.
and a 4-bar loop, I could do those all day, but why? We have enough slop made by humans. We don't need AI slop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Um, is it edible pleasures?
Ooh. So,
Right.
Lorena, what did you think?
Well, that one, see, we're still at the, intimate side of the album. Another good song. I did see, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it says there's like other vocals on there by someone else.
Yes. So I made some names for some of the characters, and some of them they wouldn't let me
Oh,
get away with. So like,
okay.
and their plays on words like Love Jones with a DJ, you
Yeah, because
know.
I was like, this is a very interesting name.
Yes, I was coming up with names so I would remember. Let's say that these personas catch on. Like
Hmm.
I didn't want to go and create fake pages for fake artists, but I wanted to have a name for the sound of that voice, so I can come back to it later. If let's say we want to do something consistent where it's just all neo soul ballads or all whatever,
Mhm.
just gives me a way to come back to them. Like there's one called Rulo de Jenkins, and there's a rapper with a female voice. She's Boxy Frown, but I didn't want to use that because I don't want to shade Foxy Brown. But this is the way my mind thinks. Is that it's
I was gonna ask about that for the keep on when we got to that record. Okay, got
yeah.
it.
So
Gotcha.
edible, but before we leave edible pleasures, right? I want to dedicate that song to my wife, and she knows why. But yes, that song I literally did myself on a Triton rack back in the day. I was smoking some trees, and I was feeling some kind of way. Just by myself and playing the keys, and I wanted to do something in a compound meter. So all you music heads out there, right? Put in the comments what meter it's in, because if you try to count it in 4, you're gonna have some left over. I'll just leave it at that.
Mm.
But I wanted it in 5. Uh, the original demo, I still have it, and again, I'll probably wind up doing like a deluxe edition when more of the stuff comes out, to put back to back, where you can hear the old one with the new one and the old one with the new one. But it didn't make sense to put 2 of each song on a record. You know what I mean? That would just be weird.
Mm.
But again, when we get to the website and the direct to consumer, maybe the fans really do want to A/B it and compare.
Mm.
So wait, when did you write this song?
Oh wow, that was 2003.
Oh, wow.
The most recent mix that I put in though was 2021, because I had found a clean copy, and then I tried to master that copy with like desktop software before it had gotten to this point, and it was good, but it wasn't as up to code and as filled out as some of the other songs. And it
Mm.
actually had live percussion on it, and I couldn't separate the percussion. And I needed a better mic for that recording. In my humble opinion, I did the best I could, and then my wife is one of the ones who says certain songs she likes my vocal for different reasons, but
Mm.
no one ever said that they'd rather have my vocal, except well, I'll say except the diehard fans. Because it's when I say it's all my vocal, if everybody's got on super suits, you still got to know how to fight, right?
Yeah.
If I tell you to go woo, and again you go woo, right? It's still my run that you singing. It's my run that I stole from Stevie Wonder, and now he gave it to me, and I'm giving it. You know what I'm trying to say. So I never emotionally attached to it having to be my actual voice, when the name of the record, I'm putting my name on it because it represents me.
Mm.
I'll come and sing it, but again, the way things go in this world, I'll be stunned if I get to sing that song live. Hey,
Edible pleasure.
incessantly. Yes, yes. There's some dirty words in there, but that's probably for as yet fans. When I say people who like that kind of the Babyface style of writing, where it was innuendo and it wasn't
Mhm.
completely vulgar and over the top, you listen to it like Favorite Lips. There's nothing in there that tells you what it is, but it says, I'm going to grip your hips and kiss my favorite lips goodnight. And edible pleasures incessantly, no inhibitions, just let it be, opening up to the possibilities. What's opening up? I don't know. You tell me. Right? It's meant to leave something to the imagination and create a vibe for fertility and reproductive purposes, romance, and all that good stuff.
But see, that's what I like, because you have to actually listen to the lyrics to get what you're saying, because it's
And I
not just
purposefully didn't include them because people were asking me, "Did you type the lyrics?" No, they're going to go on the vinyl. They're going to go
oh,
on the printed copies, because I like that people are having to listen, and that's a good thing.
Mm.
Good thing.
We've got no, not too late. It doesn't
yeah.
matter. Oh, it's too late. Yeah, too
Like,
late.
Ooh, okay. Now, Too Late was also with the same band that did Favorite Lips. With now Giuseppe Patane, he's the bass player.
mm,
Quincy Jones had a project with Rod Temperton called "We Are the Future," which was the European version of "We Are the World." It had everybody from Alicia Keys to Take Six. This is Quincy Jones was Quincy's one of his go-to bass players. He also works with some of Quincy's sons and whatnot. Me and him got on Thick as Thieves, and he would bring me ideas, and we got things that we've done together. This particular song was actually Too Late. Was called "Don't Say Goodbye" at one point, and that was just me and Allison Joni, the maestro. He gave me some Natalie Cole type keys, or what he was playing that day it just made me feel something, and I wrote a version of it that was just a demo with me singing and stacking the harmony and just piano. I put that into Suno, and I wanted to recreate the sound that we had with the band, with that bass underneath, like Giuseppe would play, or like the drums and everything else. I wanted it to be consistent with the rest of the record, and that's what we got. That song "Maybe It's Cold Outside."
Mm.
yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's kind of in the vein where it's like, hey, it's getting a little late out there. Maybe you should just stay the night. Well, it's not safe out there. It's not safe. It's getting late. Just chill.
Doesn't matter.
Ooh, that song was the brainchild of Giuseppe Patania, who I was just mentioning before. He brought me a track that he did himself that was incredible. We still have it. Now, he played every instrument on that thing, right? And it was the right kind of weird for me when I heard it because it had so many changes just in the opener that, you know, I said, "Ooh!" And we wound up writing stuff together over the years and for film and stuff. And what happened with that one, I wanted to feel that way about somebody, where it didn't matter after all of the superficial things of life and relationships. I wanted to feel that way about someone where it's like, look, we can live under a bridge together and we good. We can live in a trailer park, you know, or not. We don't have to live in a trailer park, baby. It's okay. But you know what I'm saying? Like, um, sometimes I write the future into being. And shout out to my wife if she hasn't fallen asleep by now. She always falls asleep when we're talking. So, and I don't blame her. But yes, that song was spearheaded by Giuseppe Battane, and then I wrote over that recording and put it in. When I put it into the AI, I wanted to combine the neo soul with the avant garde kind of feel. Like, because I'm a fan of like these bands like Dirty Pockets or Moonchild, or like there's certain types of bands that are newer that have this older vintage sound, and it to me made it more palatable than the original one. Is dope though. That one is definitely going to go in the direct to consumer, but this one sounded more like I can hear, I don't know, Duran Bernard would kill that song. You know, like certain artists that can sing might hear it and want to cover it. I hope.
Yeah, no, the when I first heard it, it is very different than anything that I've heard currently. So I did have to rewind it back at certain points because I was like, wait, what just happened?
That song is from 2002, I believe. 2002. Juice, if you're watching, you know, send me a text. But yeah, it's definitely in the early 2000s, that song. And that's timeless music, man. Hey, 20 years later, it's still here for the first time. But thank you. I'm glad. Please rewind it again. But that was one of the cases where when the AI heard it, it put the right amount of changes in a few spaces that it kept the melody and the lyrics and everything the way that it was. It didn't add too much because sometimes it'll give you way too many like runs or too many, or the horns don't match or something. But this one, I felt like, all right, that one took about 6 days to get it right, you know, which isn't bad. I say because these kids are spoiled these days, man. They want to make beats in 10 minutes, and I'm like, 6 days with AI is still a lot of work when you're like micromanaging every little detail to make sure you can hear the details. And then there's a slight distortion because when the drums are ramping up, I wanted it to sound like when you're at a live concert where it's pushing the soundboard to its limit. So it's like it's an intentional distorted little grit right there. Yeah, it's something you can still use. You can use technology as an instrument and still use it to have feeling, just like anything else. A guitar doesn't have any soul until someone breathes life into it. Same thing with voices. But if they take away AI tomorrow, if they take away electricity tomorrow, I'll still be making music. I'll be beating on a box and singing or whatever, you know, in the dark.
We've I think we're just almost halfway through. Lorraine, do you want to take over the different songs?
Yes. So next we have "Get It Girl" that has more of like a Caribbean feel to it.
Ooh.
Yes.
So that song, shout out, you know what? This is a great example for you, the viewers, listeners at home. This was actually the newest song on the record, meaning that I put a version of this song called Giggity in 2023. So not just 3 short years ago. Collaborated with a gentleman named David P. Stevens. David P. Stevens is a producer, guitarist. He does jazz, he does R&B, and all sorts of things. And he travels the world. He's like just an awesome producer. Now, he had been sending tracks to a bunch of different friends in we travel in mutual circles, and he was working with Viva Mas, and he had this track that he said, you know, what can you do to it? And you can go, it's on my iTunes, it's still out. That version is still out there. But again, I was on a roll. I was on a roll with this record, and I said, I wonder what this would sound like if it had more of like a kind of Caribbean flair to it. And because I'd already put the other version out with the vocals the way they were, and they were similar tempo, I said, you know what? This is too good not to share it. So when I sent it to David, he was like, man, this is fire. So now we get two sets of income streams, two different audiences, same song. But I'm gonna do something similar with the video that I did with the other song, which is I can take the video from the old version and then line it up to the new one and maybe use a few different takes that weren't in the old video to give it a new life. Two for one special. Can't go wrong.
That's so
Yep.
cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we talked about it a little bit, but it's Keep On.
Yes, yes, yes.
I was asking who was the featured artist, the rapper on the track.
Yes, Boxy Frown. I call her Boxy Frown. She can be whoever you want her to be. Me and my friends joke about this when I say she can be whoever you want you to be. Like Eddie, my boy Eddie, he called me. He was like, "Yo, she sounds hot." I was like, "Hey, what's she wearing, yo?" No, like yes, it's one of those things where if you look at the old version, right? The original version I wrote on the mountain, I didn't have the music. I just had the lyrics and melody. I was doing the Everest base camp trek, which in and of itself is a whole nother accomplishment and a feat that I'm thankful to have experienced that with a handful of friends that I've still maintain touch with. When you almost die with a group of people, you try to keep in touch with the ones that you can. And there was so much culture and beauty in this mountain, and I knew that my life was going to change from that moment on, and it did in ways that I couldn't predict. And I played every stitch of the original version, and then put every stitch of the original into the new version. So the one thing that it did, it dropped my voice down an octave, and I'm like, that's even easier than what I was doing. Like, why come in high? I can just sing it down here and then go up. Like, so I'm actually learning a lot from interacting with. The technology is giving you different options for arrangements based on all available arrangements. Now, I have issues with how some of that technology was acquired and developed and how it's being misused. But at the same time, I'll save that for another conversation because I don't want Navi to fall asleep on me. It's like, it's 34 minutes. You've been talking longer than the record, man. You can just play the record and walk away.
I mean, okay. No. What's the next one?
The next one is the last song on the album, number 9, which is Heart of Stone, Goodbye. With
Now,
Rulo.
Yes. Now, yes, that was one of those things where that song, the vocal styling of it did kind of give me a Jason Derulo vibe. I'm a big fan of his, but I'd never typed his name in. As I said, Derulo Jenkins or whatever, right? I just thought it was funny. But the story behind the song was that I was in a bad relationship to the point where this ex of mine had her family come and remove my things from my own apartment and put them out in the street. And I had a friend that lived in the building who we met because I could hear beats coming out of his apartment. And one day I smelled some good weed and I heard the music and I knocked on his door and I said, "Hey, I know you're making something over here. I hear the metronome. What's going on?" And we started collaborating together. This brother, shout out, Illical, John Cody, Double G's. This cat came to my rescue and made sure that I got my stuff back. He took everything. He had he had an efficiency of 1 bedroom, and I was moving out of a 2-bedroom. He put everything in his living room, piled it up to the ceiling. You don't find people like that no more. And I told him, I said, you know what? We fam for life. He made the beat for the original, and I wrote over it, played a few keys. We put out a record. There's a few of the songs on my page when we did like this duo thing, like a best of both worlds, where he would rap and I would sing. And we had a lot of fun doing it. But then, of course, we went our different ways and with our families and our lives. And I did not want to make a record without paying homage to him. And the original versions of those songs were dope. I just felt like this one fit the record better in the scheme of an album having a sonic consistency, albeit Goodbye. The meaning of the song is obvious. So I should be signing off now. I'm like, goodbye. I tried to make it work, but now it's gone. I can't. Heart is gone.
So, Lauren, when you go through, we've gone through the 9 songs.
Mhm.
Do you have your all-time favorite on the album that you'd want people
Wait,
to?
like just one?
Well, I mean, there were 9 songs, and what happens when they're under 10 songs? It just means that it's a nice. We always think about Thriller, Make It Last Forever, 8, 9 songs. So it's like, but if did you have your favorite from this?
Yeah, but I can't choose one.
That's all right.
Okay, I mean, you can have
Um,
your top three, which is easier.
okay, that's easier. Okay, so like I mentioned before, Hardworking Lady is one that I keep going back to. The last track on the album, Heart of Stone, Goodbye, I was like, yes, I was in all the feels. I was not in a bad relationship. I'm not saying no one's saying goodbye, but I felt it. That was just one of them that I really, really liked. And I don't know, a third. Oh my gosh, this is hard. I don't know. We'll go with Too Late for now.
Mm.
Okay.
So definitely, I appreciate you taking the time to listen.
Mm.
I appreciate you. This is my idea of a party is having deep conversations with people that I care about, and this is why I'm no fun at parties. They're like,
But
"Man,
Andy, what's your top?
So for me, I really do like Too Late. It's strange. It was first listed as untitled on
hmm,
my playlist, but it was too late, and I think it just felt like I would say to me one of the stronger tracks on the album. Um, and yeah, so I remember seeing myself playing that. Of all of them, that was my favorite. And I do wonder, I think when you think about, I always remember watching American Idol back in the day with Randy Jackson and Simon and Paul Abdul, and somebody would sing, and then Randy would sing. Yeah, I mean, there's an emotional part of the
not feeling it,
connection
dog."
wasn't there. And I guess and for somebody like me back in those days, I'm just like, oh, that's nice vocal, and he would say, there's no connection and stuff, and I do wonder how much of a difference it makes if somebody says this is done with the assistance of AI. Does that then almost put a barrier to say, is this an offensive song, even when I'm giving it a chance?
Now, I'm used to not being understood. It's the story of my life is that I've been an early adopter. I see things coming. I scream to the high heavens like a canary in the coal mine. And then I watch as people slowly figure it out years later. That is the story of my life. And I say that because it's this conversation we're having now is very valid and very valuable. But I I want to say and it will no longer matter at some point when we're
Mhm.
all on equal footing, when people get over the initial resistance, the same way people talked about sampling or auto tune. Every other technology went through these phases where people said it's not real singing if you're singing to a track, or it's not real music if you're using samples, or it's not, whatever it may be, right? All I know is that I can stand and deliver every last song on this record myself. And I also created it in a way that would hopefully make other people want to make the song their own.
Mhm.
And there are also many signed artists who are using AI. I believe in full disclosure because I don't want anyone to feel in some kind of way, should it be discovered later that whatever technology was used. That's the
Mhm.
only reason I'm being honest. I don't think it's a selling point or if you are prejudiced because it is AI, I don't blame you because there's a lot of bad press. Maybe I should never bring it up again. But I'd be walking out here, people would be like, "Wait, you sound good when you sing it, but I prefer the recorded version." I mean, I can please everybody, no matter what I do. It was either this or no record at all, or
Mm.
or always wondering what could have happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I decided to sacrifice my ego as opposed to my integrity to
Mhm.
get something that I believe sounds wonderful, that reaches people, that has music with messages, not just gimmicks and sound bites or whatever's popular next week. I make music that I want to hear. So,
Mm.
and again, it starts there, but it's not just for me to hear. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I really have a deep empathy and caring for humankind, even though I can't stand to be around most people. I just really want, in this world of craziness, there is madness going on all around this world. We are, at the precipice of disaster at any given
Mm.
moment. We
Yeah.
need an escape. We need a place that we can feel safe and just zone out sometimes and just listen to something that takes you somewhere to feel good, some relief from your stress, something that just makes you feel good. And that's different for everyone. That's different
Mm.
for everyone. And I hope that, you know, all of you who took the chance to listen do not come away feeling let down. And if you are, please drop a comment and, we can talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. Final reflections, Lorena.
I think through this, like mentioning AI, like I don't know a lot about it. Of course, I
Mhm.
know all the bad press because that's the one that makes its way, down the algorithm. But what I learned from this, like even you using AI, like you're still putting in that work because there's certain things that you still have to fix. You know what you want the track to sound like, and AI is not going to get it completely 100% correct each time. So I think people also have that misconception that people are just making the track, it's being done in like 5 minutes and that's it. But then I think when you're like a real musician, you're a real artist, like you're still going to tweak things because you know exactly what you want, you know what you want your audience to hear. So I think
Mhm.
that's something that I learned through this as well, because obviously I don't know how it all works, but it really taught me like how useful AI can be in music. And I think that this is a way that it's supposed to be used. So there's that, and then also too, I wanted to know, like, what's the album gonna sound like live?
Wow. I actually like what Nandi was suggesting earlier. I think in the initial iterations of live performances, I want to strip it down, just piano and vocals or unplugged
Mm.
style, so you can actually hear the voice and the lyrics
Mm.
and it's not hiding behind production. Because a strong song, again, I was performing these songs with just instruments. So I want to remind people
Mhm.
that uh, if you're stuck on AI, it can only do what you tell it to do.
Mm.
And if you cheat on the test, you still won't know the answers. You just checked off a box. But when you come and see the live performance and you feel the intensity of those lyrics and those words, maybe, just maybe, I might be able to bring the band back together for a third version of the record, all live in the studio at the top level, or not. But I want to do something intimate and stripped down and city winery style. It ain't got to be stadium style. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So it'll be a beautiful thing.
I mean, Lorena mentioned about performance, and how close are you to doing um, having a set list and getting yourself on stage?
The best thing about having a 9-song album that is 34 minutes long is with, intros and outros, that is your set list. And now, of course, I may throw in a few other things that people may know. So we're starting with those. We're going to focus on just those 9 songs and maybe some Asia stuff here and there, maybe some guest artists. And that's the other thing. I want to be able to bring this music to different cities where, let's say, an artist wants to sing too late, and you've got a dope tenor in town or a local celebrity or influencer, or someone with a really great voice that wants to do it their way, and I'll make
Mm.
it into a duet. Because music is a living art. It doesn't live in a computer. It lives on the stage. It lives in our hearts. So I want to be able to use AI to give other people jobs. It's keeping me working now. Shoot, like literally, they're paying me to use it, but AI is not paying me to use it. But the production companies are paying for music that is being made by people who are
Mm.
using technology, not by technology in the hands of some greedy, lazy slot makers. So if you want me to come to your city, I will come sing live. Maybe you got somebody that's already there because when you tour with a band, that costs money. But if you have a band put together in the cities, like when you do international shows, a lot of times they'll rehearse a band a week before you get out, or they'll have charts and they can read the chart, and then they'll come and play it, and we've done that too. But definitely, like all these songs, they're in my key, they're my thing. I'm not in any way intimidated about singing them live, and the demand to hear them live is actually
Mhm.
evidence that they're good songs. Because if they weren't, who would want to hear them live?
But are you part of your getting access to? Because I know you did a city winery
Yeah.
out in the Bay Area. How
Uh-huh.
likely is that to give you that opportunity to perform?
There's
Like,
been
okay,
it's very likely. Like I have some friends. Shout out, by the way. I say shout out to City Winery, but when CC Peniston was here in town at the City Winery, like we have one. I'm in Philly right now, but I have enough connections in different city wineries if I want to do City Winery. But this brings me back to my mental health, one thing at a time. I'm literally relearning my own songs now. I get to sing because now I got two versions of the songs. So now I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna place it here and hold the note to that to sing it like the original. When you've been singing the song the same way for 20 years and then you remix it, now I'm learning the remixes. That's what I do for fun when I walk down the street. Um, but as far as there are venues like in LA, like Molly Malone's, the Key Club. You remember those kind of places? BB King's and all that. Like, there's no shortage of venues that would love to have a great show. But now we're talking about rehearsing a band, putting it together. People got to eat.
oh,
So, like I said, one thing at a time. Let's get the music heard and let's build up that demand. And I'll continue, like we all will, to keep ourselves open to the possibility and probability of success. Doing the work that never hurts.
so with that, remind everyone where they can get the album and um, you know what's next.
All right. So, all platforms, whatever's easiest for you, it doesn't matter to me. But you got your YouTubes, you got your, you know, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify. There's a bunch of other ones like Tidal, and they are in higher resolution on those than just the MP3. Um, Feel free to share it in any way. You don't need my permission to share the music because it's out there already. Spread the word. Um, the YouTube channel, I want to be able to make that a primary source of sharing information. However, I have 22,000 followers on Instagram and only 800 subscribers, and it's all my fault because I'm not on there telling everybody what I'm having for breakfast. But we're going to fix that. I'm going to take that advice from a man who has obviously demonstrated the ability in real time. Mr. Namdi Okoye, thank you for your time. And Lorena, you are, I'm telling you, a powerhouse. We're gonna be looking back on these days. They're gonna be like, you know her? Oh my goodness! They're asking me to hook them up. Can she do me a favor? I'm like, look, I can't afford it. What makes you think you can? Now, I'm kidding. We gonna be seriously though. I appreciate you
Thank
guys so
you.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think what Lynn did say about performances um, during the pandemic when everyone turned to Instagram Live, I decided let me use YouTube, and I invested my energy and time into building YouTube. But it
Mhm.
was about consistently putting out different content, and maybe there is maybe you get a guitar player and you know and you are singing each of the songs separately, so then and then you're filming the behind the scenes of that, so you're developing content for an album.
That is
And
brilliant. There are things that I can't really get into on this channel, but let's just say due to my personal obligations at this time, no one comes to the house uninvited. That's the only reason why you don't see me every day because I have priorities that are beyond the music right now
mm,
that are once in a lifetime that you don't get a second chance, and there are things that are more important at this time as the sirens flash on these Philly streets. I'll just say that there will come a time when it is just me alone with the music, sharing it with y'all. But in this particular time, I'm focusing on my family, I'm focusing on my marriage, my children, and the music is a way to make life better for them. But I don't know if I don't think people will be coming into this arena uh, this year. But what's next? Viva Mas. Viva Mas is the man. If you go on my page and you hear these boys singing a cappella, the five of us, uh, they're like the Puerto Rican boys to men on steroids, Puerto Rican hashtag, whatever you want to call it. But we got some summer bangers, man. Some up tempo dance, some sabor, and we're about to drop these things. We're shooting a video. Um, I'm actually working on another music video for another song on this album as well. But like Namdi, I'm trying to keep one thing
Which
at a
one?
time. Too late. You called it. Like I mean, you
Okay.
might have been talking to some of my people. I got a friend out in Chicago who's a radio guy. He's got his own station, and he called, reached out to me and was like, "Yo, you got to. This is the one. Like you called
Mm,
it, and he called it." It's a shout out to Fluent Radio, Mel and his wife. We've been rocking together for a minute, and they actually recommended that song, and that'll be the first one that I shoot. The only one probably that I shoot a brand new video for. Like I'm not trying to learn how to make an AI video from scratch, and there are a lot of people who do that, and maybe I'll do that for something for a commercial. But no, Too Late is definitely the one that's got to have a story. The
okay.
story needs to come to life for that video, so we
Okay.
definitely do it.
Okay. All right. So all DSPs, um, I would almost suggest streaming it on YouTube because uh,
Yes,
definitely whatever content he makes, I think they pay more on YouTube than Spotify and the others.
yes, indeed.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Oh,
Yes.
and by the way, I had to mention Project Hope. You see this shirt right here? Don't hear what I didn't say. I know it's backwards, but don't hear what I didn't say. It is a t-shirt to raise awareness for autism and related causes. And I just wanted to shout out all my neurodivergent people who seem
Mm.
to follow my stream of thought. We're going to broadcast live on YouTube because I always take your advice eventually. I might be hard-headed, but I sit with it. I sit with the things that you say. I'm like, yeah, man. You should be a therapist, man, because you've been very helpful to me.
For those who are wondering, that is his YouTube channel. Yeah, please go ahead and subscribe and follow as well. Um, but as I said, it's really it took me aback at first, like, where's Sean? Which one is he? But then understanding the album and the concept of the album, it's definitely one to celebrate. And I guess you're doing a press all week.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Oh, and we're going to be, I say, together with Her Majesty once again, Tuesday at
Uh,
6 p.m. Eastern time,
yes,
I believe. And we only
yes,
just confirmed this, like, with less than 24 hours ago. But
Okay.
yes.
I
So
don't
yeah,
back out. Like unless you got a family emergency, I'll be there.
no, I'll be there Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Yes,
Okay,
I'm
good,
going to
good.
be interviewing Sean on the Total R&B podcast. So I'm excited for that to really dive into his story and this album again. And yeah, so it's gonna be cool.
For
Awesome,
sure.
awesome. So, guys, as I said, follow Sean on YouTube and probably on Instagram, but mainly YouTube. He will start dropping some behind the scenes videos and performances and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
We're following up with that, and the three of us will return. It almost feels like a Marvel movie with the our review of Brian McKnight's debut album. We just need a sort of date. It is, um, and it's strange because if this album was your album was released, I was going to say 10 years ago, but it would be about 20, about 19 or 18 years ago. It would
Hmm.
have been, would have had this slow release, and we would have just got the album, and we could have understood everyone who got involved and appreciate it, like we did, the Brian McKnight or other albums. But
Hmm.
it will be interesting just to see, um, by the time we do that, you can give us an idea as to how it's going. Are you getting support from places that you expected or that you didn't know? And is it available internationally or is it just available for American audience?
Yes, it is available internationally. I made sure that there's only one song that is labeled explicit, but even that song, there's nothing, bannable. Um, I have been hearing from people that I haven't heard from in years or didn't expect at all. Um, where I've got a few requests for some new podcasts, new appearances.
Mhm.
Also, people that are giving me feedback about the songs, have ideas for reels or for
Mhm.
promotional opportunities. Um, it really blows my mind that the people I thought would be skeptical are the ones who are the most embracing. Um, and I'm just looking, every day is like, it's an overwhelming feeling to finally be acknowledged for something outside of As Yet. And no offense to As Yet, I love As Yet, but I think
Mhm.
if nothing else, you get a little bit more of the flavor of kind of what I'm about creatively, not just a voice or a hired gun as a singer, which is great. Hire me as a gun as a singer, that's great. But you know what I mean? Like, there's more to me. Music is bigger than any one instrument. You know,
Mhm.
certainly bigger than me. So we all,
Definitely.
let's keep the love, keep the party going.
Yes. So, Lauren, any final words as we close tonight?
Oh, well, I just want to say thank you, Namdi, for having me join. Thank you so much, Sean, also. And congratulations on the album. I can't wait to see how this grows. Because in this day and age, we're so used to albums coming out and then like we're asking the person, okay, so when's your next album coming out? And it's like, let's, live this moment for a little bit before we move on.
But
And
the
I know
answer
you're
is yes. The
yeah.
answer is yes. When's the next album coming out? Yes.
Well, I'm really excited to see how you really like take this album and let it grow and
Mhm.
seeing like the people get into it and different things like that. So I'm excited to follow and see everything that's happening. And yeah, always here to support too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate you more than you know. It means more than you know. I may
Yeah.
seem all smiles, but I don't look like what I've been through. And we're just getting started. We're trying to keep the lights on inside and out and spread love.
Yeah. I mean, I like what Lauren says, and as I said, taking your time with your stuff, visuals. That's why YouTube is so much better. That I think somebody did a cost analysis compared to releasing the video, streaming on YouTube compared to um, um, any other sort of platform, streaming platform, and it was actually more fun. But YouTube pay more. I think it was
Gotcha.
35p
Mm.
or cents or something like that
Yeah,
per
I might put
stream.
some targeted ads and all that good stuff. Why not? Even if it's just $5 here, $5 there. Just I do want to see what the organic reach does first, out of
Yeah, yeah,
curiosity, because it's not a rush. But yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
I'm again going to take that as a solid indicator that this is the way to move, because I'm sick of these social media platforms. There's too much toxic stuff on there. It's too fake.
yeah.
People inflate the numbers and bots and
Mm.
automated responses. It's just everything's losing what made it special.
Yeah.
Definitely. Um, well, we want to thank everyone who joined us live. Outcomes, the rides service, Arizona. Ezekiel, good to see you.
Hey,
The Mrs. Erica,
yes.
Sean's
Erica,
Mrs.
Erica, Erica, Erica.
Staying through to the end of stuff. Sophisticated 1194. Hey, John from Troop. Um,
Hey,
it,
legend
uh,
right there. Hey,
yeah,
thank you.
the so Steve Russell is recovering. Um, it was
Yes.
Alan and John, and they had somebody, a
Yeah.
special guest who performed with them. A really great performance and stuff like that. Um, yeah, so we want to thank everyone, and definitely we will be back. And so go on to any other platforms and check out Sean's new album and some visuals, and let us know what your thoughts are. Okay. Well, I appreciate your coming today, Sean. The release of the album is out now, and we will definitely be back in due time. So
Thanks for
we
staying
appreciate.
up. Thanks for staying up this long. Look, you look like how you're supposed to feel after you listen to this record. Exhausted but satisfied.
Yeah. Don't listen to
No, seriously though, this means a lot to me. It means a lot to me.
that.
Wouldn't have
Okay.
any other way.
All right. So I'll speak to Shonen and Lorena now, but for the rest of you guys, we'll see you soon.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
And somewhere in between.
Or even loving us, on which I did miss you with.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No. Okay, you okay?
They don't understand what Joseph Boys winning all spirits.
Play.